Awesome. What I want to talk about today with you guys is colors, right? How to read people depending on which color their personality is, right? It's one of those things where when it comes to building the business, you want to understand who the person is who's standing in front of you, right? And as a good leader, as somebody who's developed, not a good leader, but somebody who's developed in leadership and wants to learn how to read people, how to understand people, what motivates people, and all these different things, is you have to understand, right, what the different colors are and how to talk to these different colors as well, right? Different colors, they want different things out of the business, which we're going to talk about, right? But the way that you present the business to one person is not going to be the same that you present the business to the next person, right? They might be complete opposites when it comes to color, when it comes to their personality, what they want to do with the business, how they want to do the business, what they want to learn, what they need from the business, right? So this training tonight is going to teach you guys how to properly be able to present the business, right? And also not just present, but also identify how you could talk about the business to somebody when you first meet them within the first 30 or 60 seconds, right? That's the goal, is when you meet somebody, right, when you're prospecting a new person in your cold market, you want to understand who they are, and kind of while you're forming them, understand what color they are so you can present the business and talk to them about the business in the right way. Does that make sense? Drop a 2 in the chat if that makes sense. And we're going to get right into it. I'm just going to share my screen here and then we'll get underway. There we go. Sweet. Let me just present. And then we're good to go. Sweet. So the first thing is there's 4 personality colors, right? There's different names that you can call it, but I like to call it the 4 personality colors, right? The 4 personality colors are a popular and easy to understand way to describe different personality types, right? Based on color, psychology, and behavioral tendencies, right? Each color represents a general personality style. It's like a shortcut to understand who a person is, how they might act, or what motivates them, right? Everyone has a mix of all 4, but 1 or 2 are dominant in each person, right? That's one thing is very important, that 1 or 2 of these colors can be dominant in one person, right? In yourself. But when you're talking to somebody, right, you might only see, one clear dominant color, right? We have all 4. We like to, do a little bit of everything and act with all colors, but 1 or 2 will show more than the others will. Does that make sense? All right. Once we get into the colors, it's going to make a little bit more sense on what that means and how you can tell if they're more dominant, right? But we all have all 4, but 1 or 2 of them are more dominant. Knowing your own color, and others can help you to communicate better, avoid misunderstandings, and work together. Right? You have to know what your own color is first. And by the end of this, I have a test that I'm going to send to everybody as well, that you're going to be able to take at the end of this training so that you can see which color you are. And knowing your own color, right? Then you can know, okay, this is why I act in certain ways. This is why I want to pursue different things. This is why I attract different kinds of people into my life, or certain colors into my life, right? And then it will also help you to understand other people by knowing their color, right? How to communicate with them, how to avoid misunderstandings, and how to work together in the business, and how to present the business to them, right? Knowing the colors will help you recruit people more easily into the business. Very important to know people's colors and know what the colors are so you can tell what their colors are, right? How to be a chameleon. A chameleon is someone who knows how to read people and can therefore talk to everyone in their respective color. This means that you can, let's say you meet somebody like Sam, who's very go-getter. He gets things done when it needs to be done. He's a leader from the front. He's very, outgoing, gets things done, like I said. And he's a person who is what we call a red, which we're going to get into, right? But then he's completely different to somebody, let's say like Donnie. Donnie is very green. And yellow, where he's a little bit more laid back, a little bit chill, looks into the fine details of everything, make sure he has everything in line, right? Understands the process from point A to point Z, right? And looks at all these different things. That's what we're going to cover with what the colors are. But a chameleon is somebody who can see that, okay, Sam's very, go getter, more aggressive, gets things done. Donnie's a little bit more laid back and, thinks through things a lot more in depth than Sam would, maybe, right? Therefore, the way you talk to Donnie and the way you talk to Sam about the business is going to be completely different, right? Because Sam wants to get something different out of the business, and how he's going to run the business is different from how what Donnie wants from the business and how Donnie's going to build the business. Does that make sense? Hopefully, this is starting to make sense a little bit here. But changing colors, right, is how you talk and act depending on who you're talking to, being able to change that color, right? Becoming that chameleon, becoming and talking to people in their respective colors, right? That's called changing colors, being a chameleon because they change colors depending on what their surrounding looks like, right? Being able to present the business to different types of people based on their personality slash color and understand blues, reds, greens, and yellows. All right, those are the four colors that we're going to get into, which is blues, reds, greens, and yellows. All right, so reds is the first color that I want to talk about. And reds are driven, aggressive, and determined, right? They want to, like I said, they want to go, 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 get things done. They want to hit the rank within the first couple days. They have a goal and they look to smash through that goal, right? They have to win at all costs. They will do whatever it takes to win. Sam, like I said, Sam's a go-getter. He's a red. Sam, when he was having his baby, he was doing all kinds of things. He was going door knocking. He had quit his job and done all these things and made sure that he did whatever he needed to do to win, to make sure that his family and his new baby, his girlfriend, are all have what they need. He's like go go go, got it done, whatever it takes. He's still in that mode every single day. You can see when you work with him, when you hear the way that he talks, you can tell that he's driven, aggressive, and determined to win at all costs, right? Reds can be a little bit more self-centered to get what they want, right? They don't necessarily all the time care about how they make other people feel when they want to get to that goal, right? They'll get it done no matter what it costs, no matter what it takes, right? Even if it means being a little bit more self-centered and focusing on yourself, focusing on what you need, focusing on what you need to get done. That's what a red is, right? They're focused on their self, getting it done, but then also helping other people too, right? Just because you're a red doesn't mean you can't help other people, but you're more, go, 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 trying to get things done for yourself, right? Want to make a lot of money really fast. That's why reds are the best when it comes to building the business fast, right? Reds want to see results fast. They want to make money fast. They want to uh, hit the ranks quickly. You give them a goal and they go and smash that goal. You tell them, here's what you need to do to hit silver, $700 a month. Boom, they go hit it within their first 30 days, right? That's what a red does. Reds go, go, go. They want to make money. They see a blueprint and they go and do it, right? They like watches, cars, luxury items, and houses, right? That's how reds express themselves. Is they like nice things. They love to show off their money, their wealth, the things that they have. They love nice items, right? Even if a red doesn't have as much money, right? They don't have millions of dollars in the bank account and can't afford everything that they want. A red will still buy nice things within their price range to make them feel a little bit better, right? So that they've achieved what they kind of want to achieve. Right? This is why you see so many people nowadays, especially even though they have no money, they're wearing the nicest Jordans, they're wearing Off-White, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, all these things. They buy one shirt or a shoes or a hat, a wallet, whatever it is, just so that they can feel like they've made it. They can show off the money that they have made. And, obviously with broke Reds, they haven't made a lot of money. It looks like that from the outside because that's what they spend their money on, right? They're overachievers, egocentric, competitive, and confident. That's kind of how to determine if somebody is a red, right? Are they driven? Are they aggressive, determined? Do they do what it takes to win at all costs? Are they a little bit more self-centered, right? Do they want to make a lot of money? Do they show off their money and show off their nice things and like watches and cars and all these different things? That's what makes a red. And the next thing I want to talk about is how to identify a red, right? How to identify a red. Those are the things that a red is, right? Different things about a red, but here's how to identify a red is reds are formal and aggressive, right? They dress more professionally all the time, whether that's designer clothes, nice shoes, watches, right? They have the best haircut. This is an example of a red is Tommy. You see Tommy gets a haircut like every other week. You make sure his hair is always done. It's good. He's wearing the watches. He lives in the penthouse in Miami, right? He is a red, a dominant red, right? He dresses nice, wears designer clothing, make sure he looks good every time he leaves the house, right? Every time he's on a call, he looks good. Make sure his hair is done. Everything is good. That's how you identify a red, and how to identify other people is how they carry themselves with everything that they do, right? But a red, they like expensive clothes, cars, houses, watches, shoes, whatever you name it, right? They're the ones wearing the designer brands, like we said, wearing the nice suits when you go to events. Um, Maybe if it's a nice suit when you go to dinner, every time, like I said, they leave their house, they're always wearing nice, right? They look like luxury and live a luxurious lifestyle. You can see that, right? But that doesn't mean that everybody who wears a suit or everybody that dresses nice is a red, right? A red, it's not trendy, but stylish and flashy, right? They don't look to do the new trend where everybody's getting the certain haircut or everybody's doing this or wearing this kind of clothes or whatever. They want to look stylish and flashy at all times, right? They have a good firm handshake also when meeting somebody, right? You can like look at Sam, for example. Sam's a beast. He works out every day and pushes a lot of weight. When he shakes your hand, it feels like it's going to fall off. Just to be honest, first time I shook his hand and I was like, damn, my hand hurts. They have a good, strong handshake. As funny as that might sound, it's true, right? They have a good, strong handshake and they talk loud and fast. They love to talk loud and fast. Reds are really loud. They express themselves through the way that they talk, right? And the things that they talk about are making money, how much money they have, right? Maybe not all how much money they have, but things that they're looking to invest into, different things they want to buy with their money, maybe a new watch, a new car, new house, things like that, right? They talk about money, cars, winning, and all the things that you have to do with a luxurious lifestyle. And Reds must keep the score and do so to crush the opponent and not just win. Right? If you give a Red an assignment, like let's say you tell them, you know, let's have a competition who can sign up the most people. Right? You'll see the Reds are at the top of that list every single time. Right? And they will make sure to win that competition. Right? Like for example, when we were doing a promotion earlier this year, right? We saw Sam. This was with PU Prime. We had a promotion. Sam was on top of that list, and he was down by like 1 point towards the end, and he did everything to get in front. And then he got in front, and then he went down a few points, and then he went back in front. It was like a competition the whole time. He was doing everything that he needed to do to win. Right? It doesn't matter what the other person's doing. I'm focused on my lane. I know what I need to get done. I know what my goal is. I'm gonna go and get it done. Right? And they always keep things organized and clean, especially their cars, right? Their homes, maybe, their the way that they do business, their schedules, their calendars, everything's organized, clean. They know when they need to do certain things and understand that, you know, let's say for example, for a guy that's red, that's has money, has a nice car, whatever. He's gonna keep that car clean because he knows, if I go on a date with a girl, she's not gonna want to see my car dirty, especially if I'm driving a Lambo or I'm driving Mercedes or whatever the car is, right? And especially once you get to that point and you buy one of those cars, you don't want that dirty anyways, right? When you have a Lamborghini, you want to get into somebody's Lamborghini, it looks so beautiful on the outside, then you get in and it's trashed with McDonald's wrappers and there's sauce smeared everywhere and there's a can in the back that's leaking whatever drink it was that was in there, right? They keep things organized and clean. Moving on to how to move a red into action, right? We understand how to identify a red, what a red is. Now, how do we get them to move into action when it comes to building the business, right? You need to understand who a red is. You identify that that person is red. Now, okay, how do I get them to build a business? How do I get them to make money trading? Right? This is how you do that. You talk more about the compensation plan and making money fast, right? A red doesn't care about making money in the next 5 years, giving them a 5 year plan, showing them what that's going to look like if they stay in the industry for X amount of years. They want to make money like this. They want to, you want to give them the trade ideas with Nick Gomez, with Daniel Lopez, with all the top educators, with Donnie, right? You want to give them a plan how to hit $700 a month in the business in their first month. Give them a plan, show them the compensation plan, how much money they can make, give them a plan to get there and show them how to make money with trading like that. Right? Make them money within their first few trades on once they get started in the business. Right? They don't want to work for someone else, but be their own boss. Right? You need to tell them and show them that through the compensation plan, through getting to $2,000 a month, to following the trade ideas, right? Doing all these things and doing them fast, you're not going to have to work for somebody else. You can be your own boss if you follow the plan, get to $2,000 a month, copy and paste the trade ideas. That's how you're going to do that, right? You have to continue, do it, stay consistent with it, and then you're going to see those results, right? They're not worried about 5 years down the road that they're going to hit 100K a month if they stick with it, right? Or 10K a month. They're worried about how fast can I make money in this business right now. Help them set a plan to sell the product and grow a big team. Take trade ideas, make money right away. Right? We talked about that. Be strong and firm with them. Show them results. Plug them into the system or a mentor slash upline that can help them. Right? If you sign up a red and you're not very red dominant yourself, plug them in and get them around somebody who is a red, right? You want to be strong and firm with them. Show them the results that people are making in the system. Show them the results that the scanner's doing. Show them the results. What happens when they go through the director boot camp, right? But if you don't have those results yet, right, or if you're not a red and you don't understand how to talk to them in their color yet, plug them in with Tommy. Get them on a call with Sam, right? Introduce them to somebody who speaks their color, right? Who is also very dominant as a red. That's how you can help somebody get the results that they want to see faster, right? If you're a green or somebody who is more laid back and wants that longer term plan, you might not be able to help that person at that point in time if you haven't developed all the colors yet and can talk to them in that color. So introduce them to somebody else who can, right? Introduce them to other reds in the company once they get results, like we said. Challenge them to get results fast and reward them, right? Tell them, like, if you're building the business, what you can do is, let's say you enrolled somebody and you have a red that's wanting to build a business. I've done this multiple times with a few reds, right? Not every time, but with one person in particular, we did this, and I told him, I was like, look, I just signed this person up. If you go and sign up 3 people, I will place them under you, right? I will help you build your business by placing one person under you. Go and sign up 3 people, right? Give them and challenge them to get a result fast. Sign up 3 people by the end of this week. Sign up 5 people by the end of the month, whatever it is, and I will put somebody under you. It's a reward for them. Right? They're going to go and work towards that so that they can be benefited even more. right? Or for example, on the trading side, it's like we did multiple of these, which Donnie, we might have to talk about bringing one of these back where we do like a trading, a monthly trading challenge where people can maybe win a funded account at the end of the month or whatever. But we've done some of those as well, where you can challenge somebody to make 10% on your account in the month using proper risk management, not over leveraging on your account, doing the right things long enough consistently, right? And then you get a reward of some sort, whether that's $100 in your live, a funded account, whatever the case is, right? Give them a challenge to get results and then reward them as well. And then give Reds options, not opinions, or tell them what to do. Right? You want to give them options and not force them to do something. You don't want to break their ego. Right? You don't want to step on their toes because they already they don't really care sometimes to get in other people's ways or do things the way that you want to do, right? Or the way that you're going to tell them to do things. Give them options on different ways and show them different results that people have got doing it certain ways, instead of telling them like, look, you need to do it this way or you're not going to get this result. It's going to turn them off. They're not going to want to do it your way. They're going to want to try and figure out a different way or go find somebody else that will speak to them in their language, right? So give them options, not opinions. Don't force them to do something. Give them different options on what they can do, right? Yellows, going into the next color. Yellow is the next color for those of you guys taking notes. Yellows play by the rules, right? They do everything ethically and honestly. Yellows are the complete opposite of reds, right? You have red that's loud, aggressive, go, 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 get things done. And you have yellows who, are more relationship driven, care about people, are kind of calm, sensitive when it comes to obstacles, right? They're kind of more laid back and, look to help as many people as possible before they even get a result, right? They might be helpful, caring, or spiritual, right? And kind of, they're more laid back, right? That they're more calm and focused on helping the team win rather than seeing the results for themselves, right? They're relationship driven. They care about people, want the team to win first. They can be more sensitive when it comes to obstacles, right? So let's say when it comes to they lose half of their live account that they just deposited, they can be more sensitive to that, right? Where they have that emotional attachment still to that trade that they took or to the money that they lost, that it kind of bothers them in a way, right? Or if somebody doesn't want to join their business right away, they're not going to, like a red, and they might be like, if you're not going to start, somebody else will, like, don't waste my time. A yellow, they'll kind of take that more to heart. It's like, oh, this person didn't join my business, right? I dealt with them for a month. I dealt with them for a week, right? Helped them, showed them everything, was, trying to help them start in the business, and they still haven't joined. And that's kind of how they would feel about that situation, right? Where a red on the other side is like, I don't really care about that guy. I'm on to the next person. I've already texted 30 other people on my list, where yellow might still be kind of hung up on that, right? Which is something that, if you are yellow, it's something that you can't let bother you, right? Is we have to move on, go and find the next person to talk to, but also still care about that other person and follow up with them, right? Just because they didn't sign up doesn't mean you don't have to talk to that person, right? But don't let it affect you in a way where you're like, okay, I don't want to go talk to anybody else now because this person said no, right? So you can be sensitive, but or yellows can be sensitive, but if you are yellow, you don't want to be too sensitive to a point where it bothers you when people don't join your business. That's not going to help you build a business even more, right? Yellows are community driven, love to be a part of the community and help others in it, right? This is where you talk about the community, where we do these calls with people, we do trading sessions together, we do leadership calls together, we do Bible studies now even together, right? This is what yellows want to hear, that there's a community of people that build each other up, that help each other make money, be a better version of themselves, right? Help other people win. That's one thing you want to talk about when you go to talking about building the business with them, right? Is you can make money by helping other people make money, right? That's how you want to talk to a red, not or to a yellow, as opposite to the red. where it's like, go talk to as many people, hit the rank by this time. They're gonna go, 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 go. Yellows are gonna want to help as many people before they actually see results. All right, does that make sense? Drop a two in the chat if this is starting to make sense for you guys. I want to make sure that you guys are all still on the same page. Let's see what the chat is here. Paid away from my newborn son and lady for a month in Texas while I was doing high ticket sales. Is one of the hardest things I did, but very worth it, right? That's I totally forgot that you were even out there, right? But after we were in Miami, Sam went away from his newborn son and from his lady to go do high ticket sales for a month. A newborn baby and his girlfriend at home. It, that's hard as a new father to leave for a month to go make sure money's coming in and things are getting done. Like that's what a red does, right? They sacrifice things. Right, and Sam is the prime example of somebody who sacrifices and gets things done. Some will, some won't. Who cares? Next. Awesome. You guys are following. Sweet. So, how to identify a yellow? Right? Yellows are informal and passive. They're very soft spoken, right? When you meet somebody that's yellow, they're not going to be in your face, ready to go, and go go go. They're gonna be more chill, laid back, soft spoken, trying to have a more calm conversation, right? They don't look to impress anyone with anything. They don't look to have the nicest watch or the nicest car or the best looking house, whatever the case is. Right? They don't look to impress anybody with material things. They wear very informal clothes, right? Not expensive or designer clothes. You might see them in sweatpants a lot, maybe hoodie and sweatpants. Maybe a nice pair of jeans, or when they dress up, they have a button up with jeans or whatever it is. But they're not wearing the nicest brand all the time. They're not wearing the all the flashy stuff, as opposite to the Reds, right? They're more informal with their clothing, and they love the outdoors, right? Hiking, being around family, being with friends, going to the beach, going to the lake, whatever the case is, right? They love to volunteer to help people, whether that's at a homeless shelter or a food bank, or help people with if somebody's car gets broken down, whatever the case is. They look to volunteer and help people that need help, right? They're not very specific of what their needs are. They're kind of more like, what, I'll do the work and whatever happens, happens, right? The result I get is based off of the effort that I put into it, right? They build others up and speak highly of others. This is something where they always look to empower others in everything, right? Whether it be trading, whether it be building the business, whether it be a family situation or a friend, whatever the case is, right? They're always looking to build others up, make others feel good, right? They don't really care about being recognized as much as recognizing somebody else. Their tone of voice is very warm and soft spoken, like we said. They're, they're friendly, nice people, and they show up on time all of the time. Right? They want to be able, they want other people to be able to rely on them when it comes to certain things, and they don't want to, show up late or be all up in your face and yell at people. Right? They're friendly, nice, soft spoken, show up on time, and don't look to impress people with what they're wearing or what they look like on the outside. Right? How to move a yellow into action is lower your tone of voice when speaking to them and be genuine. Right? This is so key. Where Sam talked about this last week a little bit, is the tonality of voice when you're public speaking and things like that. When you're talking on a stage or talking to people, is you want to be able to read the room, right? If you're talking to a red, you can be more aggressive, you can be more loud, but a yellow, they're probably going to get turned off from that, right? You need to talk to them in like a lower voice, um, be more genuine, have a softer tone, right? Don't be aggressive in their face, or they might not want to do business with you, or they might not want to talk to you again, right? They need to know that you care about them. Listen to what they tell you, right? Or to listen to what they tell you. A yellow doesn't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? This is a quote that we hear a lot is, you know, people in general don't care how much you know, right? Most people want to know, okay, do you care about me, right, or not? And then I'm going to see if I want to do business with you or want to continue this conversation. If you don't care about me, right, you're just trying to get me into your business to make money off me. But if you genuinely care about me and want to help me win, right, you have to show people that by asking questions about them and, you know, getting to know them on a deeper level and building that relationship rather than just here, join my business. You know, especially when you're talking to yellows, where a yellow doesn't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Right? Show and help them to help as many people as possible, and that is with the company, or that this is a company with a heart and that wants to help everybody win. I should have put a comment in there. But show a yellow, right, to move them into action. Show them a plan how they can help as many people as possible. Right? Show them how that works through building the business, how people can make money trading, and how they can, you know, help other people do that, whether it's doing their own trading calls or getting people, sending people the trade ideas from the educators, right, plugging them into the system, going through all the different systems we have on the Revolt website when it comes to building, right? Show them the plan, how to help as many people as possible, and that this is the company with the right heart that wants to see people win, that's there for everybody, has the right education, right, is easy to learn for everybody. Lead them where you are going, but do it nicely, right? They won't follow you if they don't like you or trust you. It's like we talked about before, right? It's your lower your tone of voice. If you want a yellow to follow you and trust you with this business, right, or to like you when it comes to the dating world, using these colors is not just for business, it's for everything we do in life. Whether it's how we talk to a partner, somebody that we might be into, somebody who we might want to date, or our wife, our partner, whoever it might be, right? You have to figure out what is their color, right? How do they respond to certain things? And this is how you do that, is knowing, okay, are they red, yellow, green, or a blue, right? And then lead them to where you're going, right? Don't force them to go where you're going. Give them a path, show them the blueprint, show them this is the way that you can do it, right? And do it in a way where you're not coming off as, like, I need you to build a business, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, right? Show them how they can do it and do it in a way where they can feel like they can trust you with their life, trust you that you're going to help them, go to $2,000 a month, trust them, or for them to be able to trust you to make $2,000 a month trading, right? They don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. They want to know that you care about them with everything. And then show them the bigger picture of helping a lot of people. When it comes to the business, they yellows want to help people, right? You'll see yellows that are, like we said, in volunteer, right? Maybe they do missionary work or they travel across different countries and help people who are, in need in different countries, things like that. Show them the bigger picture of how they can help somebody make more money doing the business too. Right? That's how you get a yellow to move into action. Oh, give me 1 second here. Blues is the next color. Yes. Blues bring the fun to the party. Always are in party mode. Right? The Blues love to have fun. Always in party mode. They're the first ones that are like, yo, when's the club open? When are we going on the next team trip? Where is the next team event happening in the city? Right? What are we doing? Fun, exciting. Are we going bowling? Are we doing this? Are we going out here? Are we doing this with the team? Right? The Blues are go, go, go. They want to have as much fun. They want things to be exciting. They're the life of the party. Right? They're natural followers when they follow fun. Right? You want to show them that we have culture in the family, right? We have culture inside Revo. We go on trips together where we went to the Miami lock-in for the leadership, right? Where we in Miami for 2 weeks. What do we do there? We locked in, right? We did business. We came to Gifu. We went to the beach. We had fun. We had a DJ night with Tommy in the Airbnb, right? We had a pool. We had all these things that we're doing. We were with the team, having fun, going exploring. That's what Blues want to see. That's what they're going to follow, right? They don't care about uh, the long term goals, right? This is the same, similar to Reds. They don't care about the long term goals. They're short term thinkers, very spontaneous. They will go on any trip, even if it's last minute ones, right? They love traveling, love having fun. They're not focused on the long term results. They're focused on what can I do now, right? Can I take a few trades, make a little bit of money, um, help a few people, join the company, hit a first rank, whatever it is. I just want to be around the team and have fun, right? They're spontaneous, outgoing, energetic, fun, and happy all the time. You can see Blues. I have one friend that I will never forget. Every time he's not in the business, he he hasn't joined the business yet. I'm still working on it, but whenever he's around anybody, you could be sitting there having the most like serious conversation. It could be like super chill, and he will show up, and everybody's in like go party mode. Like everybody's laughing, having fun, doing things they would never do, or all of a sudden we're instead of chilling at one of our buddies' houses, all of a sudden we're cliff jumping and doing all these things. Like it's crazy the things that having somebody like that, and exactly who I'm talking about because you have them in your friend group as well. Right? It's that person where sometimes it's almost like annoying, where it's like, dude, calm down. Like I don't want to do that today, right? But they just don't know how to shut it off. There's always like fun, exciting, ready to go, always laughing. They're never bored. Right? That's what a blue is. How to identify them, right? They're informal and aggressive, right? They're very bright and loud. They're always doing the trendy things. You can spot them from a mile away, right? They almost have like this sunshine glow to them, where it's like, oh, Steven's coming from around the corner, with all the energy over there. You can see them coming from a mile away. They're most likely late because they're so spontaneous, right? They're probably not going to be there on time if you set a meeting or you go to a team event. Actually, if you go to a team event, they'll be there the first ones, right? But for example, if we go to like a team trip, we went to Mexico for one of our trips a couple years back with the team, and there's people we had made dinner reservations, and some of the people that we went with, some of the Blues especially that we went with, they were still in the pool, they were in the hot tub, they were doing all kinds of things, running around the resort while we were waiting for them in the restaurant because it's under their name and they won't let us in. Like it was things like that where Blues, they're probably going to be late, right? So don't rely on them to make a dinner reservation and be there. Right? Talking from personal experience, but they use a lot of slang when they talk as well, right? They don't use big long words or very thought out sentences. It's just kind of all over the place. They're using all kinds of different slang and short term words and that kind of thing. They're very loud when they talk as well, very energetic, very high on energy. They have the trendy hairstyles, the trendy clothes. They're very colorful people. It's funny because a lot of Blues that I know, from my personal experience, like the very, very blue, like blue is their number one dominant color, and it. I've seen a lot of those blue people. They drive blue cars. Funny or not, funny enough. I've had one of my buddies who's a blue. He's had like three different blue vehicles. Right. Every time I was like, bro, why is it blue? He's like, I don't know. I like blue. And I was like, well, it's because you're a blue. You literally buy the car that shows people what personality color you are. That's kind of a funny thing that look out for that for the next person. Maybe they do drive a blue car. Is that a thing that is with every blue? No, it doesn't have to be, but it's just something that I've noticed with certain people. How to move a blue into action, right? Blues are followers, but be nice to them and not aggressive towards them. Right? Blues will follow you if you show them fun. They're not going to follow you if you tell them to do this, and if they don't, sign up three people, then or whatever the case may be, you give them a goal and they don't hit it, and then you're like, oh, what the heck are you doing, man? Like, do you even want to build a business or all these things? Like, that's how you talk to a red, right? A blue, they will follow you if you do it in a fun way. They will build the business with you if they can go on a trip every single month, right? They'll go on a trip. They'll go and build a business if you introduce them to other blues, and you always talk about having fun. You have the dance parties on the Zoom calls, and you know the team is full of energy. That's where the blues thrive, right? Is the trips, right? Always tell them about the next trip that we're going on, right? So if you have a blue that's in your business right now, talk to them about Portugal next year, right? We're, I think, less than 6 months away from Portugal. That should be the number one thing that you're telling them about. Right? We're gonna go to Portugal not just for convention and meet the educators and see the new products that Gifu's releasing and all these things, but we're gonna go to Portugal to have fun, explore the city, travel, go on a new trip, experience a new lifestyle, experience a new culture. Right? These are things that blues want to see. If you have blues in your city, right, go and book a next team night with them. Right? Go bowling with the team. Go um, to whatever, some kind of fun activity that you can do, right? Go do something and invite those blues that where you guys have a lot of energy and you can go and do fun activities, right? That's how they get involved in the community, is if they see a community that's having fun and doing things that they want to do, right? Keep it simple, show them the plan and how to see success in building and trading, right? They want to make money trading, they want to build a business, but you have to keep it simple for them. They're not looking for the long-term 5-year plan that's going to help them make 10K a month, right? They're looking to see how much money can I make right now so that I can afford to go on the next trip, right? That's what a blue is. If they're new into the industry, new to the business, they like to have fun. Is they want to know, how fast can I make money to go on the next team trip that we're doing, right? How fast can I make money so I can go and go to the next festival, or whatever the case is, right? Show them the plan, but keep it simple, right? When it comes to success in building and trading. And then keep it short and simple, and teach them how to make an extra $500,000 a month and travel with the team, right? That's what I was saying, is like, show them how to make an extra 500 to $1,000 a month before the next team trip so that they can put it away from their trading and building the business, right? Show them how to do it quick, but keep it simple, you guys. And the last color that we're going to talk about, which is the last color of the four um, colors here that we covered, right? We covered red, which is very energetic, go, go, go. They love the flashy things, the cars, the watches, um, the houses, right? We talked about yellows, who are more laid back, more calm, care about other people more, put others before themselves. They're very soft spoken. They, more religious, or kind of laid back, and think about how they can help other people. Blue, very energetic, very go, go, go. They're on the next team trip. They're going and doing whatever they can to make money and do all these things so that they can be around the team. And we covered those three colors. And green is the analytical, long-term thinkers, right? These are the people that think and research before they jump into anything. This is funny enough. When you join Gifu, there's there was it shows you like all the different things in the contract that you sign when you join, right? It gives you all the facts about the company, it tells you that you can't resell the courses and all these things, right? It's like what is the word I'm looking for here, Donnie? If you want to help me out with that. um and when there's the whole list of things that when you join the company, trying to think of that word here. Let me check the chat. um yeah, I'm not sure what the word is, but there's like a whole checklist of things that it shows you before you join the company, that you understand all the terms and things like that you can't resell the company and the course and all these different things. But I've had people who read through that whole entire log, right, word for word. They read through everything that um, that it talks about in there, everything that they can and can't do. Or if you teach them trading, they're probably going to be on a demo account for 3 to 6 months until they understand how to trade using the strategy. right? If they're building the business, they're probably going to build a plan for the next month and then execute it after, so that they know, okay, I need to do this week, this week, this week, right? They're very analytical and long-term thinkers. They don't rush into anything, right? Facts and figures are more important when it comes to everything, especially business, right? They look at all the facts. They want to watch as many videos as possible when it comes to Jifu, when it comes to Revo, when it comes to trading. They're watching everything. They're looking for every little thing so that they can be able to trust you. Right? They look at, what are your results? How has this educator performed? What is the best way to build the business? What is the best strategy to trade? How long is it going to take me to get to this point? Right? They think about everything in a long-term mindset. Right? They won't do anything until they have the answer to it. All right, like I said, they're going to plan it out, make sure they have a step-by-step plan, and then they're going to execute that plan after they know, okay, this is everything that I need to do to get to this point. All right, they can be skeptical about a lot of things until they see the answer. Right? Greens, if you're talking to a green, they're probably not going to join your business after seeing one exposure, right? After being on one opportunity call or watching one video that explains Jifu and Revol to them. They're going to be skeptical about it. They're going to ask other people and look at different reviews and ratings about the company and ask other people if they've had experiences and things like that. Like, if until they see the answer, until they see a clear, okay, like I have the green light here, that's when they're going to join, right? They're going to be skeptical up until that point. And they're going to have a lot of questions for you as well, right? A lot of questions. They're calculated, conservative, analytical, and logical, right? How to identify a green? They're formal and passive, right? They're not looking to have expensive things unless it is an asset or it will appreciate in value, right? Unless they're looking to buy into gold, silver, real estate, land, Bitcoin, things like that. They're not gonna buy all the flashy stuff, like a redwood or like a blue wood. They're going to look to invest more things that are going to make them money, down the line. They're going to look at the 20-year plan when they're married and have kids and their kids are out of school. What is my finances looking like? What can I invest into to get to that point? Right? That's what greens look for when they spend their money. Right? They don't dress flashy. They're kind of discount shoppers. You don't see them wearing the nicest suits. You'll see them wear suits, right? Dress nice, but it's not going to be the designer brands. It's not going to be the top of the line, um, branded stuff. It's going to be more, they look for the discounts and where they can save money, where they can, save money to invest into other things. They're always on time. Everything has to run by the clock and on a schedule, right? They're the first ones there for the team calls. They're the first ones there for the meetings. They're the first ones there for a family dinner, or family game night, or family reunion, whatever the case is. They're always on time. Everything runs on their schedule. Or they make sure that they follow their schedule. And then they don't like surprises and they're not spontaneous. Right? They don't want to uh do things sporadically and just like, from one thing to the next. They're going to take their time and make sure to understand everything, like we talked about, right? Make sure they have all the details, all the facts. They're not rushing into anything. They're more skeptical and less trusting, right? They're not going to trust you until they see a way for them to be able to make money through the business, right? They're not going to trust you until they can see it for themselves or envision themselves being in that position where they are making money, where they are learning the strategy, or where it makes sense for them to learn the strategy. Right? That's how you identify a green. And then how to move a green into action, right? You give them all the details about everything before getting them to do something, right? Whether that's building the business or trading. If it's building the business, you want to give them all the details, right? Break it down to them in a plan. If it's $700 a month, right? You need 14 people to build. You have to build your team to 14 people, right? 7 people on your left leg, 7 people on your right leg. Give them a plan show them how many people they need to get there, show them that if they sign somebody up into the business and that person signs somebody up, it also counts towards them. Give them all the details about building the business, right? When it comes to training, and let's say smart money, for example, right? Because Donnie's very green and he goes into detail on trading with smart money, right? Talk about the liquidity sweeps, talk about all the different kinds of order blocks and points of interest and where the banks look to position themselves in the market, right? That they're looking to hunt people's stop losses before they push the market a certain way, right? Give them all the details about everything before getting them to do something. And then lay them out a step by step plan, show them the process and the system that will help them win, right? Show them the system that works. Show them that, you know, going through the director boot camp, right? This is how you're going to learn all these different skill sets. This is how the PS3 system works. This is how you identify people's colors. This is how you invite somebody. This is how you build a list. Show them the process of how they can get to $700 a month, right? They understand now the facts about $700 a month. They need 7 people on their left leg, 7 people on their right leg. Right now, show them how are they actually going to get there? What steps and what actionable steps do they have to take in learning which skill sets to be able to get to that point where they can recruit people, where they can help other people recruit people and build the business the right way, right? Keep it logical so they can see the vision with the plan. It has to make sense to agree. And if it doesn't make sense, they're not going to follow that plan that you gave them, right? Even if in your eyes it makes sense, if it's not detailed enough, they won't see the vision. So make sure you put in as much detail and you explain it in a way where they will be able to understand you. Right? Greens believe documentation beats conversation. Right? It's one of those things where they want to see all the facts. They want to see the documents that state, okay, this scanner has done this much percentage. This strategy works like this, and this is the win rate in certain things, and this is how this person got to here over the last 3 months in building the business, right? They don't care about what you tell them. They need to see that it can be done with a step-by-step plan, right? With a detailed step-by-step plan, not just by you telling them, oh, yeah, Joe hit $700 a month in his first 30 days because he did this. It's like, no, give them the plan so that they can go and follow it, right? Lay them out a long-term plan for 3 to 5 years. That's where you want to talk with greens, right? These are the kinds of people that you want to talk with 3 to 5 years down the line, right? Talk about that trading and network marketing. It takes time to get good at. It takes time to become consistent and build a long-term vision, right? Don't tell them that they can make, $10,000 a month within their first year. They're going to look to, work on that plan consistently, see the long-term vision, and show them that, if you stick with it long enough and you stay consistent with what you're doing, you're going to be able to get to 10K a month if you stick to the plan. This is the 3 to 5 year plan to getting to 10K a month, whatever the case is, right? Or 50K a month, 100K a month. And then don't force them to do anything. Help them to do everything they want to do, right? Greens are not going to listen to you if you force them to do stuff. And they're not going to join the business until they feel like they're ready to join, right? Until they've seen enough information, until they've seen enough results, right? They're not going to, you don't want to tell a green that it's now or never. Are you going to be the one that changes the history of your family? Are you going to be the first millionaire in your family? It's like they don't care about that. They want to see a long-term plan where they can get there, right? They don't want to make money fast. They want to make consistent money over time. So don't force them to do anything. Help them to do everything that they want to do. All right. But with that being said, guys, that is the colors training. Hopefully, you guys all learned what each color is, right? How to be able to read these colors as well, how to get them to go into action and take action and building the business as well, right? Knowing that which color you are and knowing which color your team is very important, because that's how you're going to be able to help them build the business a certain way, right? That's how you're going to help them to trade a certain way, be consistent with their trading, show them the plan with smart money, show them the plan with the scanner, show them how to go $700 a month, show them how to go $2,000 a month in the business, right? They want to see actionable steps, want to see a plan. And, with different people, it's going to be different, right? Reds are just go, go, go. Let me make as much money as I want and as fast as I can, right? Yellows are more, how many people can I help? How do I go about building the business that way? Right? How can I help as many people as possible? And then blues, they're just here for a good time, get them on the next trip, get them their ticket ASAP to Portugal, make sure they're there, help them make money fast, and be at that next event. But one thing I want to do before we jump off, I'm just going to put this in the chat here. And I was talking about this at the beginning. I'm going to post this in the Diamond Season chat and also in here in this link here or in the chat box. Sorry. Let's just copy and paste in there. This is the Mark Aceta colors test, right? I want everybody to go and take this test and drop it in the family chat. Right? Take this test to figure out what color are you. Right? That way you can understand why you act in certain ways, right? What colors is your dominant color? What color are you, able to attract easier? Right? How are you dealing with different things? Are you a green who, understands things a certain way, or maybe you think you're a certain color, right? But after you go through and answer the test and answer the questions, you might be a completely different color, right? So go and fill out this test. It's free to take the test. Drop it in the family chat. I want to see all of you guys' results. I'm going to do so as well here when we jump off. I'm going to post it in the Diamond Season chat as well. But I hope you guys all learned something today. Learn how to go out there and talk to different people depending on their colors, how to attract people into your business or into life in general. And yeah, I hope you guys all learned something, and we will see you guys all on the next one. Hope you guys all have a good night. Peace.